What did Jesus say about Old Testament justice? Now, this is often an issue of contention because people can't see the justice of the Old Testament. It seems cruel and tyrannical. Now, what was Jesus' understanding of the Old Testament and how did he explain it? Well, he said, well, you've heard it being said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. The teaching of Jesus here is that ultimately, as you would want people to treat you, you should treat them the same. He says, for this is the law and the prophets. That's the principle of the judgment, and that will be the principle of the judgment. So if you are someone who hates people and curses them and would want people to be killed, then if you sit in the judgment seat, then you should be treated the same way. If you lie and are willing to mislead people to condemn someone who is innocent, then you deserve the same. If you show cruelty to this person, then on the judgment that God will give, you're going to receive the same. That's ultimate justice. When you see what took place with the nations of the Canaanites and the Amalekites, it is just what happened in World War II, where there was a tyranny that was wanting to take over the world. If you read, these were men of war, like Goliath, the Philistine of Gath, and they delighted in war. They were oppressive. They were like Hitler. They went around conquering for the sake of conquest, not for the sake of defense. And God made it a rule that He would give them back what they had dealt to many nations for many centuries. You see, Hitler needed to be stopped, and so the Amalekites, the Canaanites, also needed to be stopped, and God did so. And you can tell what took place when the Israelites decided, oh, no, we'll just leave them, and allowed them to flourish. They ended up being the greatest enemies of Israel and led them to the worst destruction. Whenever they took over the Israelites, when they outnumbered them, they enslaved them, they oppressed them. That's why God wanted to put a stop. If people had had mercy on Hitler, his very philosophy would thrive and result in oppression in this world. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. As you want people to treat you, you should treat them the same. I think that is the ultimate justice. It shows the righteousness of God. And on the judgment, you see, when God looks at all the laws that we have broken, often we look to ourselves and see, oh, well, I didn't hurt anybody, even though I lied, I stole, I looked with lust. But we didn't see that we hurt somebody. You know, a lie can lead someone to kill themselves. A lie can condemn an innocent person in court. And it is so serious in the eyes of God. That's why He says lying lips are an abomination to the Lord. Adultery destroys families. It destroys the future generations. Just one act of adultery. And God punishes it severely because as we have done to others, not just the one before us, but the ones following, the ripple effect of our actions, and that's what we deserve. When you see the severity of the suffering that we inflict others in its enormity, when it shows even the domino effect, you realize why God does not tolerate sin and wants to punish it severely. And you see, those that are offered heaven are those that see their guilt and how much they have hurt others with their words, with their infidelity, with their betrayal. And they recognize that they are deserving of death. They cannot carry the weight of guilt of their own actions. And in humility, in sincerity, they come and confess their sins. They feel sorry for what they have done. And they trust in the Savior who took upon Himself the punishment that they deserved, that He might give them a way of escape, an opportunity to turn a new leaf and have a second chance. That's the mission of Jesus. And those that enter heaven are people that feel so sorry of the wrong that they have done and have turned away from it that they want nothing to do with evil anymore. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. As you want people to treat you, you should treat them the same. But I say unto you that you resist not evil. If a man shall smite you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. If a man shall sue you at the court for your coat, then give him your cloak also. If a man shall compel you to go a mile, go the extra mile. Go with him too. Go the extra mile. You've heard it being said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemy. Bless those who curse you. Do good to those who despitefully use you and persecute you, and pray for them. They want to live for righteousness.